Nathan Matthews and Shauna Hoare seemed like a normal couple, quiet, private, and nothing out of the ordinary. But everything changed the day Becky Watts disappeared. What started as a missing person case quickly turned into a dark. She loved writing in her diary, listening to music, and dreaming about places she wanted to visit. She wasn't the type to party or seek attention. Her world was small and simple, just her family, school, and a few friends. She lived in a neat 2-story house with her father and stepmother in a quiet neighborhood. Nothing seemed wrong. No one knew something terrible was about to happen. When asked again, Nathan claimed he had gone to pick up something, but Becky's stepmother denied this. Inside were Becky's things: a bracelet, her hoodie, and a notebook. Nathan said Shauna got them from Becky weeks earlier, but Shauna looked shocked and confused. The police didn't believe him. A search warrant was issued for Nathan's flat. Under a rug, they discovered a hidden trapdoor. When they opened it, a terrible smell filled the room. Below was a small crawl space. Inside, they found a large plastic container sealed with duct tape. Inside were human remains wrapped in plastic. But this was just the beginning. The horror they uncovered would only get worse. This raised even more suspicion. Then, police returned to Nathan's flat with a forensic team. They searched every corner. An disturbing mystery filled with lies, jealousy, and a carefully planned murder that shocked the entire country. That morning, Becky didn't show up at school. Her phone was left behind, her purse and keys untouched, and her bed was messy like she had just gotten out of it. When her stepmother came home later, she expected to find Becky in her room, but the house was silent. There was no sign of her. Becky's diary mentioned how uncomfortable he made her feel. She said he would watch her, appear suddenly, and made her feel unsafe. Nathan had a history of small crimes but nothing violent. When questioned, he said he was with friends on the day Becky went missing. His girlfriend Shauna supported his story. When no one had heard from Becky, her father called the police. A missing person report was filed. Becky Watts was 17 years old. She liked peace and quiet. On March 2nd, Becky was home alone. Her stepmother had gone to work, and her father was out of town. He remembered a strange white van parked outside the house that morning. He said the driver sat in the van for almost an hour before driving away. That van became a key clue. Police searched the house but found nothing broken or out of place. Yet something felt wrong. Her belongings were too neatly scattered. A half-eaten toast sat on her desk, and her diary was open. Her last words written were, "I don't feel safe anymore." Officers began asking neighbors questions. Most people didn't see anything unusual except one man. Soon, the police focused on Becky's stepbrother, Nathan. He had recently moved back into the family, but phone records showed Nathan's phone near Becky's house at the exact time she disappeared. In his garage, police found a locked toolbox. Forensics tested the items. Becky's fingerprints were on the outside of the notebook, but the inside pages had been wiped clean. That's when they found it. One part of the floor in Nathan's bedroom sounded hollow. It was Becky. Tests confirmed her identity the next day. The missing person case was now a murder investigation. Nathan and Shauna were arrested. The discovery sent shockwaves through the community. A missing girl's case had just turned into a murder investigation with horrifying details. Nathan and Shauna were immediately arrested. The charges were severe: kidnapping, murder, and abuse of a corpse. But the question that haunted everyone was why? Why would a stepbrother and his girlfriend commit such a calculated and brutal act? Detectives searched for answers and soon discovered a disturbing clue. In a backpack found in Shauna's car was a small notebook, different from Becky's. This one belonged to Shauna. At first glance, Nathan and Shauna didn't appear capable of such a monstrous act. When his father remarried and started a new life with Becky's mother, Nathan became increasingly withdrawn. But investigators soon realized she had a morbid fascination with control, violence, and manipulation. Her internet history was filled with searches related to true crime, psychological torture, and even criminal case studies. From the shopping trips to the staged alibi, every step was calculated. It didn't show Becky. Instead, it was a clip of the plastic container being sealed shut, with a voice whispering, "Done." The voice wasn't frantic. It wasn't panicked. It was calm, steady, and satisfied. That moment revealed the mindset behind the murder. There was no regret, no fear, just a cold sense of achievement. Shauna even deleted certain messages and cleared her phone browser days before the disappearance, hoping to erase her digital footprints. Two seemingly average young adults had plotted and carried out the murder of an innocent girl, not in a moment of madness, but with chilling purpose. Shauna received 28 years for her role in orchestrating and participating in the murder. The judge described the crime as monstrous in its cruelty and said it had been executed with chilling efficiency. During a routine inspection of Shauna's prison cell months later, guards found a letter hidden inside the spine of a paperback novel. It was written to Nathan and revealed even more chilling truths. The thought that Becky might not have been their only victim left the community reeling once more. Justice had been served, but the wounds would remain. Becky's story became a haunting reminder that evil doesn't always wear a mask. Sometimes it lives quietly in the next room. In the letter, Shauna confessed to having manipulated him from the beginning. She had chosen Becky as their victim long before they discussed any plan. It was her idea to isolate Becky, to study her routines, to test how far they could go. There was no emotion on either of their faces when the sentence was read. Nathan stared blankly at the wall. Shauna sat perfectly still, her hands folded in her lap. The motive was not just jealousy or anger, it was a hunger for control, the thrill of power, and the belief that they could get away with it, but made it clear that no sentence could bring their daughter back. Becky's father, fighting back tears, said that he had lost his daughter not to an accident or a stranger, but to people who were supposed to be part of their family. The betrayal cut deeper than anything else, but digital forensics recovered it all. Texts where she and Nathan discussed the day, photos of cleaning supplies laid out like trophies, and disturbing messages where they celebrated how clever they thought they were. The courtroom was packed each day as people came to hear how two ordinary young adults could commit such an extraordinary act of evil. But the most powerful moment came when Becky's diary was read aloud. Her final entry in shaky handwriting mentioned how she felt watched, how she couldn't sleep, how something didn't feel right. Her quiet fear echoed through the courtroom and reminded everyone that Becky had sensed danger but hadn't been able to escape it. Journalists sat shoulder to shoulder with Becky's family, who silently endured the gut-wrenching details being revealed. The prosecution laid out the case with precision, presenting the evidence in chronological order, each item forming part of a meticulously planned crime. She idolized notorious killers and appeared obsessed with the idea of committing the perfect crime. Psychologists later concluded she had a dominant personality and likely influenced Nathan's every move. They claimed there had been an argument that escalated, that Nathan panicked and Shauna helped cover it up. But the evidence told a different story, one that left no room for doubt. The premeditation, the step-by-step planning, the secrecy, and the disturbing lack of remorse all pointed to a cold, calculated murder. The jury didn't take long to deliberate. After just 4 hours, they returned with a unanimous verdict, guilty on all counts. What began as Nathan's personal grudge evolved into a dark partnership, with Shauna at the wheel. His resentment toward Becky wasn't loud or obvious, it grew silently, fed by jealousy. Shauna was quiet, polite, and often went unnoticed. But when she spoke, she had a way of making people uneasy. She was controlling in her relationships and often kept detailed journals of her daily interactions, noting how people responded to her and how she could influence them. It wasn't surprising that she had manipulated Nathan. She fed his anger, stoked his resentment, and presented Becky not as a person, but as a problem they needed to solve. Becky had the stable life and attention Nathan never felt he received. Her success at school, her close relationship with their father, and her calm nature all seemed to aggravate his fragile ego. In his twisted mind, Becky had taken the life that was meant for him. They were young, quiet, and mostly kept to themselves. But beneath that quiet surface, detectives uncovered a chilling web of obsession, resentment, and psychological decay that had been building for years. She was seen buying gloves, plastic sheets, tape, and cleaning supplies. Receipts showed the purchases were made using cash. When questioned about it, Shauna said they were for cleaning their flat, but the timing and items told a different story. In it were a series of lists and entries, each dated and numbered. How to dismember a body, how long does DNA last, and hiding a body in concrete were among the most frequently visited queries. Every new detail uncovered pointed to a deeply disturbing truth. This was not a panicked cover-up, it was a carefully designed crime, hidden in plain sight, waiting to be uncovered. It was a detailed log of the crime planning, execution, and cleanup. They included chilling phrases like supplies ready, final location, and aftercare. The level of organization was shocking. This wasn't a moment of rage. It was premeditated. Further investigation revealed CCTV footage of Shauna at a hardware store days before Becky's disappearance. Forensics combed through Nathan's laptop and found internet searches that were equally horrifying. As the investigation deepened, the disturbing motivations behind Becky's murder began to come into focus. He had a long history of emotional outbursts and feelings of abandonment, especially toward his father. Nathan's past revealed a pattern of instability. Shauna's background was even more concerning. She had no criminal record, no warning signs. Interviews with former classmates and coworkers painted a clearer picture. The timeline revealed that the murder had been planned for weeks. One of the most damning pieces of evidence was a video, just 30 seconds long, found hidden in a folder on Shauna's hard drive. As the truth unraveled, the community could hardly process what had been uncovered. The trial of Nathan and Shauna gripped the nation. The jury heard about the text messages, the online searches, the purchases of plastic sheeting and duct tape, and the video clip that showed the container being sealed. The defense tried to argue that Becky's death was accidental. Nathan was sentenced to life in prison, with a minimum of 35 years before parole could even be considered. They thanked the police, the jury, and the public. Becky's family gave a brief statement outside the courtroom. Just when the case seemed closed, another shocking detail emerged. She ended the letter with a cryptic line. It could have been anyone. Becky was just the easiest. Authorities reopened investigations into a missing persons case from a nearby town that bore striking similarities.